Hey everyone, welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My cheating wife's infidelity led to unexpected revenge and a life transformed, a journey of betrayal and redemption. Hello, I'm Jason, a 47-year-old man. I'd like to share a significant event from my life here and seek some advice. This story takes us back 12 years when I was married to my first wife, Susan. We were together for 7 years and had two kids, Laura and Lucas, who were 5 and 3 years old at the time. Our life was pretty routine until one unfortunate day. One morning, while I was driving to work, a speeding car from the opposite direction crashed into mine. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital bed covered in bandages and casts. The nurse told me I had been in a coma for 2 days. I expressed my gratitude to the doctor for saving my life. While I was thankful for a second chance at life, I had no idea about the calamity that awaited me. A week into my treatment, my doctor broke the devastating news that my lower body was paralyzed and I might never walk again. I was devastated. Susan was equally crushed by this news because she had to take care of the household and the kids on her own. I fell into a deep depression, unable to accept my life confined to a wheelchair. My days were spent staring at the hospital room walls, resenting how my life had turned upside down. I mourned the fact that I'd never play soccer with my children, dance with my wife. To make matters worse, Susan stopped coming to visit me. Initially, she brought the kids to see me 3 times a week, and those moments were what I cherished the most. But as time went on, her visits became infrequent. I begged her to bring the children more often, but she claimed they didn't want to see me as frequently. I felt utterly hopeless. Then one day, she handed me divorce papers stating, "I can't spend my life with a disabled man. I'm still young and want a normal partner." I won't lie, I could feel it coming. I sensed the separation looming when she started giving me the cold shoulder, but I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. About a month after my accident, some even suggested she might have been involved with him before my accident, while others thought she turned to him out of desperation afterward. It hadn't even been 2 months since my accident when I was handed divorce papers. Although I may seem composed writing this now, I was anything but at that time. I was overwhelmed, devastated, and heartbroken. I was confined to a wheelchair, financially struggling, and divorced with no income or savings after paying for medical bills, household expenses, and the kids' education. Saving money was out of the question. Fortunately, my insurance helped cover some of the hospital bills, but I had to dip into my savings to cover the rest. In the end, I had nothing left. I wanted to scream, bang my head against the wall, and curse my luck. I don't know how I held myself together during that time, but something inside me kept me sane, probably the burning desire for revenge. After leaving the hospital, I moved in with my parents. At 35, I was divorced, had no income, and relied on my elderly mother both physically and financially. My mother worked as a florist, running a small shop in the suburbs. The income from the shop and her pension covered her expenses, and she offered to support me with these limited resources. It was incredibly challenging for a 35-year-old man to depend on his 62-year-old mother. Shortly after my release from the hospital, I tried to visit my children. When I arrived at our home, it was locked. The neighbors informed me that Susan had moved to her boyfriend's place with the kids. According to them, Susan's new partner was a wealthy but older man who had been divorced 3 times and had no children of his own. Some even called Susan a gold digger and accused her of being with the older man for his money. I managed to find her boyfriend's address and went to his house. However, when I arrived at Susan's new home, she refused to let me see my children, claiming that the kids had already adjusted to her boyfriend and were calling him daddy. She warned me that showing up suddenly would confuse the kids even more. When I insisted on seeing my children, she threatened me with a restraining order. I couldn't afford a lawyer, surviving solely on my mother's modest income, so I had to back down. It had been less than 6 months since my accident, and only a few months since our divorce, yet she was already living with another man. I felt disgusted and asked her how she could move on so quickly. Though I admit it was immature of me, I was a helpless father in a wheelchair with few options. I begged her for just one chance to prove my worth, but she degraded me, calling me a burden. I inquired if she had cheated on me before the divorce because she was already living with her lover just a month after our divorce was finalized. She dismissed my question, saying it was none of my business and that I should never appear before her again. I stared at her, reflecting on our 7 years of marriage as she had replaced me so swiftly with someone else. With tears in my eyes, I left, feeling defeated and humiliated. When I returned home, I cried like a child in front of my mother, who comforted me. She encouraged me to take control of my life, but I felt lost and directionless. To begin, I joined my mother in her shop. I assisted my mother with making bouquets, serving customers, and maintaining the shop. It didn't take long for me to realize the business had significant growth potential, but my mother was too fragile to manage it on her own. I used my old contacts to secure contracts with event management companies providing flowers for their events. Over time, I assembled a team, secured contracts for venue decorations, and eventually launched my own event management company. It took me 12 years to rebuild my life. Throughout this journey, my mother stood by my side, offering support and encouragement to help me bounce back. A year after my accident, I found out that Susan was leaving the city with my children and her lover. I hurried to their house to see my kids, but they had already left by the time I arrived. Before that, I had made several attempts to reach out to my children, but Susan insulted me and sent me away each time. Susan had full custody of the children and the authority to make decisions for them. Because I was physically and financially challenged, I couldn't pursue joint custody. I couldn't contest her restraining order either, as I couldn't afford a lawyer. Meanwhile, Susan had a wealthy boyfriend named Evan. I didn't know if he had been with her before my accident or how he suddenly entered her life. All I knew was that he was a wealthy man with significant family assets. Over the past 12 years, I made several attempts to meet my children whenever I had leads but faced continuous failure. Susan would threaten to have me arrested, leveraging her boyfriend's money and connections. Even though they never got married despite living together for 12 years a year ago, I finally decided to file for joint custody. I was waiting for my event management business to stabilize before taking this step. I successfully filed for custody and was granted 15 days with my children. They'll be coming to my house next week, despite Susan's objections in court. I hired a competent lawyer who presented my case effectively, resulting in the 15-day arrangement. My children are now teenagers, aged 17 and 15. They were asked if they wanted to meet me, and they expressed a desire to do so. I understand that I can't make up for the last 12 years, but I want to spend quality time with them. As the time approaches, I'm feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Teenagers can be demanding these days, and I hope my children aren't excessively mean or toxic. I'm unsure about what story Susan has told them over the past 12 years, and I'm debating whether I should tell them the truth about their mother. I'm uncertain. Do any of you have suggestions on how I should approach this? I'm incredibly nervous and excited. Update 1. Hello everyone. I have some significant news to share. In my initial post, I left out two important pieces of information. First, I'd like you to know about my current wife, Amy. I remarried a lovely woman 5 years ago who happens to be an interior designer. We crossed paths at an event where she was handling the wedding venue's design while we were providing the flowers. Love didn't hit us immediately, but we clicked and became friends. We continued to meet at similar events over the next few months and developed a close bond. Amy was a single mother with a 3-year-old daughter. The idea of starting our event management company came from her, as she had worked in the industry for years, had the right contacts, and knew the business inside out. I joined forces with her to launch the company. We dated for a year before tying the knot. Now we live together as a happy family of four: Amy, her daughter Mia, my mother, and me. Mia was thrilled to have a grandma, and so was my mother. The second piece of information concerns the compensation for my accident. I was hit by a speeding truck, and in an ideal scenario the logistics company which owned the truck should have compensated me. However, they managed to dodge the case by filing for bankruptcy. Instead, my insurance covered most of my medical expenses and disability compensation. Although the settlement didn't fully restore what I lost, it allowed me to secure a modest home and maintain a stable life with my mother. Fast forward to today, and Amy and I have built a new life together. Our event management company is thriving thanks to her expertise and our combined efforts. We've been able to provide a loving home for Mia and create a supportive environment for all of us. My mother's health has also improved with the stability and support we've been able to offer her. The upcoming time with Laura and Lucas is both a joy and a challenge. After years of separation, rebuilding relationships with them is a delicate process. We've had some heartwarming moments as we've reconnected, but there's still a lot of emotional terrain to navigate. I'm aware that I can't erase the past 12 years, but I hope to offer them a positive and supportive presence in their lives moving forward. I'm trying to balance being open about the past with being a supportive and loving father. Their mother's actions have created a complicated backdrop, but my goal is to build a strong, honest relationship with them. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this journey. I'll keep you updated on how things progress with Laura and Lucas. Update: it's been a few months since Laura and Lucas moved in, and things have been a whirlwind of emotions and adjustments. They've settled in quite well, and I've seen them start to open up more as time goes on. They're still processing a lot, but we are building a new routine and creating new memories together. Laura, now 17, has taken a keen interest in helping with the event management business, which has been a great way for her to engage and contribute to our family's work. Lucas, at 15, has been more reserved but is gradually finding his place in our home. Mia has welcomed her new siblings with open arms, and the bond between her and Laura has been especially heartwarming to witness. The most challenging part has been navigating the complexities of their feelings about their mother and our past. We've had some candid conversations about what happened, and while it's clear they have mixed feelings, I'm hopeful that time and open communication will help them heal. I'm trying to be patient and understanding, giving them space to express their thoughts and feelings as they come to terms with everything. Amy has been incredible throughout this process. She's offered unwavering support and has been instrumental in helping the children adjust. Her compassion and understanding have helped bridge the gap between our past and our present. I'm grateful for her presence in our lives and for the stability she provides. I also wanted to share that the legal battles with the logistics company have concluded positively. We finally received compensation, which has alleviated some of the financial pressures. This has allowed us to invest in a home that suits our needs better and has given us a bit more breathing room financially. Looking ahead, my main focus is on continuing to build strong relationships with Laura and Lucas. I'm committed to being there for them, supporting their growth. Thank you once again for your support and kind words throughout this journey. I'll continue to update you on our progress as we navigate this new chapter together. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.